covering the stories that impact your life, your town, your state, and your future. This is the Means Report with your host, Brad Means.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Means Report. We certainly appreciate you spending part of your day or night with us whenever this airs. We hope that it's reaching you, and we hope that you are safe and sound and healthy and optimistic about what the future may hold in the wake of this devastating storm and the aftermath that is absolutely mind-boggling. We're going to try to clear up some questions about relief and recovery, the timetable for us to try to, I don't want to say get back to normal, but just take some sort of step forward, and then what to expect as the future unfolds. We have the players with us who are going to make it happen, beginning with the Mayor of Augusta, Georgia, Garnett Johnson. We have the Utilities Director for Augusta Richmond County, Wes Byne, and we have Kerry Bridges, the Region Director for Georgia Power. His region is Augusta and the surrounding areas. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for saving us from all of this. We appreciate that. Mayor, let me start with you. How do you feel about the response from Augusta, Georgia so far? And I'm not going to lie, people on social media and in person to me have said, man, nobody knows about what's happening here outside of Augusta, Georgia. Nobody knows, nobody cares, nobody's coming. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that our city is recovering, that we have the resources that are coming to our community to make sure that we're being able to provide power and water and some of the most essential needs like food for our community. If you talk about Augusta compared to other parts of not only the state, but the Southeast, Augusta, in my opinion, was spared in a sense that if you look at our neighbors to the north up in Asheville, North Carolina, who's getting most of the attention, they were completely devastated. Keep in mind, this is the worst natural disaster in the history of our city and of our state. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud that we have great state and federal partners that have helped us to bring the resources in to make sure that we're at least on the path to recovery. We're only in day 7. And I know people may say only, but in day 7, you've seen steady progress day by day. I'm optimistic that that progress will continue.
All right, we appreciate that. And I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you viewers, my heart is filled with gratitude for these gentlemen and the legions of others helping them. I'm just conveying the concerns I've heard from you all. Wes, why did our water system break? What happened there?
Certainly. So Augusta has 5 water plants and 2 wastewater plants. The main water plant at Highland Avenue is fed off the Augusta Canal. We have 9 pumps there. Water falls through the canal, through the pumps, into the river, and is turned. They're called hydromechanical turbines. So they use that water-powered move. We had so much rain Thursday morning, we ended up shutting the bulkhead gates to protect downtown from flooding. As the water levels continue to rise from the water coming in from Rays Creek and Reed Creek in Columbia County, we ended up having to shut the head gates, and that's up at Savannah Rapids Pavilion. So we isolated the area, but we ended up with a tremendous amount of hyacinth and trash, trees. We counted over 100 trees in an hour coming down the canal. So what happened was there was so much debris, we were unable to completely run the hydromechanical turbines. Every time we would try to run them, the screens got clogged up. We would have to stop running them because the machines come offline. At the same time, we lost power at the 3 central groundwater plants. So the demand that those plants required ended up having to come from Highland. So we were pushing incredible amounts of water south. And as the storm continued on Friday, we ended up trying to open the head gates, but the area was blocked with trees. Okay. So we had to walk in to do those adjustments. So it's a long time period to get a response. There was a delayed response. Over time, the river, the amount of material in the river went from a number of what we would normally say was 5 to over 500. Extremely muddy water.
All right, so that's how we got here. Kerry Bridges, Georgia Power, how do we get out of this mess? Do you have enough Georgia Power linemen here? Do you need more? I know that folks would like to see legions of Georgia Power trucks rolling down every single street. What's it like behind the scenes?
Well, Brad, first of all, thanks for having us today to tell our Georgia Power story. So we're sitting in Georgia Power's East regions, made up of 11 counties in the greater Augusta area. We have about 180,000 customers, 180,000 meters, probably 450,000 people that we serve in this East Georgia area. At maybe 9 o'clock on Friday, we had 173,500 of those 180,000 customers without power. 95% of our customers service was interrupted at that point. Georgia Power was well prepared for this storm. We knew days and even a week in advance that this storm was tracking for Georgia. There's so many things that we do to prepare for that. We have a mutual assistance agreement with utilities all across the country. And so we go help them when they need help. They come help us when we need help. We had 10,000 electric service restoration personnel pre-staged in and around Georgia ahead of Hurricane Helene hitting our area.
Do you have enough out there right now, or do we need more?
It's a great question. So we had 10,000 pre-staged. We now are up to 20,000 electric service restoration personnel working in the state of Georgia. Over the last 3 to 4 days, we've set up 12 staging areas around our 11 counties. We've built cities in 12 locations to serve our people. We're self-sufficient with food, water, trailers, sleeper trailers, and now we have 9,600 beds for electric restoration personnel to service our 11 counties in this part of Georgia.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, Kerry. Georgia Power's cities that they've built for those linemen and women aren't draining our infrastructure, our resources for the city and surrounding areas. Mayor Johnson, what does state and federal help look like to the viewer who is in the dark right now, who perhaps can't flush their toilet still? Where do we go to say, thank you, state worker, thank you, federal worker? Where is that help?
So it starts at the state level. GEMA came in early to provide some of the purest resources as to drinking water, tarps, food, meals for many of those who need help. We have other partners with the American Red Cross who has been very valuable to us being able to provide, as I mentioned, some of the most neediest things to our community. Then we have our federal partners through FEMA. As you know, on yesterday they announced that 100% of the costs that's associated with us recovering will be covered by FEMA, which is a huge, huge help to helping people not only gain access to funds needed for food, but have access to things like critical housing needs. So it's so important to have those partnerships both at the federal and at the state level. Governor Brian Kemp was in this community on Monday. Vice President Kamala Harris was here on yesterday, and both have committed in a bipartisan way. And this, as you know, this storm is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a Georgia and an Augusta issue, and I'm proud to know that those partners are working together to help our citizens recover from this.
Wes, what about the water situation? Where do we stand right now? We are recording this on Thursday. It's going to air all week and weekend long. Are you making progress to get everybody's water flowing?
Yes, we are. All of the plants are operational. Highland started producing high pressure water in significant volumes yesterday afternoon to the West Augusta area. The central groundwater plants are operational, moving water. We powered up Fort Eisenhower last night, produced water for it. So the system is becoming pressurized. It's going to continue to climb over the next 12 hours. You should see normal system pressures in all parts of the system, except for the limited outages where we have people valved off while we're doing repairs, waiting on trees to be moved. So we will be there this afternoon with full pressure for everybody.
Well, it gave me chills. Kerry, walk us through the process of getting the lights back on. It seems like, by my count, it's a 3-step process. Remove the debris, get the Georgia Power crew out there. Remove the debris, cut the trees, turn the power back on. Walk me through that process as quickly as you can and answer this. Why do my neighbors have power and I don't? I meaning the viewer.
It's a great question. And so this storm is different. This is the most destructive storm in Georgia Power's history. So a lot of people want to compare it to the ice storm that happened here 10 years ago because they can identify with it. I would call this the ice storm times 2. The ice storm damaged our distribution system, which you see up and down the roads. That's the poles and wires that you see when we move up and down the roads. This storm also heavily damaged our transmission system. And so we're having to rebuild, I call it reconstruction, not restoration of our transmission system so that we can energize our substations. So we begin the process first by rebuilding our transmission system, energizing our substations. We had to clear the roads, and then we have to clear the right-of-ways to be able to get out there for our workers to restore power. And as we begin to re-energize our electric grid, it's done circuit by circuit. And so you may be on a different circuit than your neighbor across the street and just not realize it.
Okay, that's helpful. Mayor, were you surprised by this? We'll go to break after this question, Jarrett. Were you surprised by the magnitude of the storm? You heard Kerry talk about it in historic proportions. I think most of us went to bed Thursday night and thought we'd be okay.
We did. As you know, we preemptively put out a notice that we were only expecting wind gusts up to 30 to 40 miles an hour, 3 to 5 inches of rain. And I think before dark, we had received significantly more rain than was anticipated. Woke up the next morning, really didn't wake up the next morning at 3:30. My alarm went off that we were losing power, and I'm looking out of the windows and wake up, and it seems as though it was complete devastation. I had to crawl between trees to get out of my own neighborhood, hike downtown.
I feel you, and as do the folks watching. I know we're all going through it together. We're going to find out how you can access more resources and how you and your family can stay safe as we try to see the light. I've got the mayor, I've got the water man, I've got the power man on the Means Report. Welcome back to the Means Report as we cover the recovery and restoration efforts in the wake of that horrific Hurricane Helene that rolled through last Thursday. Wes Byne is the director of the Augusta Utilities Department. I don't want to look back too much. I want to try to look forward because I know that's what y'all want. But Wes, how's our equipment doing? People have complained that perhaps our equipment was too outdated and we knew this time would come, that failure was imminent. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, we did have redundancy built into the system and we had backup. We had two of the big machines out for service, not realizing that they would be required in this time. However, we had a series of cascading failures that caused this. So the failure of the power plant, or this water plants in the middle, caused water to go that way. Our backup diesel generator overheated. So as a result, we ended up having to bring one of the machines that was for service out into emergency service in order to pump water. And so we actually cut the control door loose on it. We were operating it, even though it's a little bit out of balance.
Sure.
We put a lot of money into that station. We put a lot of work into the system. It is not due to antiquated materials, machinery, anything like that.
Is that diesel company going to give us our money back?
We were working with them. They did expedite a crew in for us yesterday. We have a solution finally. We've had 11 diesel mechanics try to get it up and running. We finally got it operational yesterday.
All right, thank God. Kerry, talk about the size and scope that Georgia Power is dealing with. Ice storm, I thought 1,700 new power poles was a lot. We need more than that?
This storm is, I said, it's the most destructive in Georgia Power's history, evidenced by, we're not even done damage assessing yet, but we're already at 8,000 power poles.
Oh my
It's what
word.
we need for the state of Georgia. We also need we're picking back up 21,000 spans of wire, which is one pole to pole distance. Right now we're at 1,500 transformers, and we've removed 3,200 trees from our power lines across the state of Georgia.
Mayor, let me ask you this. Where can I get a plate of food? Where can I get some money?
Well, as you know, FEMA has unlocked their resources to the city. If you go to FEMA's website, there are resources there. I think they're giving each family up to $750 for the replacement of food. Throughout the city, we have 3 points of distribution for not only water, but for food and for various other much needed things, like you can get baby formula. We are getting a lot of help from our religious communities. So many of the churches are really stepping up. As I understand it, the hub of innovation down on Chaffee Avenue, they're offering hot meals. They're offering a lot of things that people are in need of right now. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a massive distribution of not only water, but food. Chairman, CEO Michael Thurman from DeKalb County is bringing a truckload of fresh vegetables and nuts and fruits.
This is Friday, y'all.
This is Friday.
Yep, this is Friday.
This is Friday,
Okay.
tomorrow. And then FPL Foods, one of our greatest employers in Augusta, one of our beef processors, is giving away 8,000 cases of fresh beef, fresh hamburger.
Oh, man, that's
So they're
wonderful.
stepping up in a big way.
Kill for a hamburger right now. Wes, why'd y'all issue a boil water advisory? What's that mean, and would I die if I drank a glass of water right now?
So the boil water advisory is a requirement of the state because of the loss of pressure in the system. It's typically designed to handle when you have a big main break and you run the risk of getting dirt, mud into the pipe. This is because of the low pressure event that occurred. So we have to issue the advisory, as the state has indicated to us. It's an advisory, not a requirement. However, we are pushing it forward. We're repressurizing the system, and we've been conducting bacteriological tests, which have all come back clean. I'm leaving here and going to meet with the state to talk about our plan to lift the boil water advisory for the entire city. I don't know the time frame yet, but I'll issue that as soon as I find out.
All right, and let me keep emphasizing this. I know y'all know this. We're recording on Thursday, so if the all clear has been given by the time you watch this after Thursday, we'll have that at WJBF.com and on our Facebook page. tree questions for you, Kerry from Georgia Power. Are you okay with neighbors going ahead and cutting down those trees off those lines for you so when you get there you're good, or would you advise us to not do that?
Leave that to the professionals. We have tree crews that are working our area right now to clear trees. Please don't touch any down power lines. One thing that is out there is when power lines fall on fences, stay away from fences. Keep children away from that. Don't pull any limbs off any power lines. As we're beginning to re-energize our grid piece by piece, we never know when all those lines that are wrapped up in those trees could be energized. We do damage assessment to ensure that never happens, but occasionally in a storm of this magnitude, those could be energized. So let's treat all wires as if they're energized for safety purposes.
You may not be able to answer this question, but is there a point where we might be able to get our hopes up? For instance, if the neighbor's lights come on, or if we see a Georgia Power logo on the side of a truck on our street, is that the time to go, oh my gosh, it's about to happen? Or should we, Kerry, just keep our hopes tempered until we actually see the lights?
Listen, we appreciate the public's patience. We understand that we're moving into day 5, 6, and 7. This is a difficult part of the storm. We just ask for your patience. And be sure and check your own facilities. Make sure that your weatherhead on your roof where we attach the wires, make sure your meter base is not damaged. Make sure your weatherhead's not damaged, because if there's damage to your facilities, by rule, we cannot connect you back. And we want you to see that, call us, let us help you get an electrician, and we'll leave a flyer like this on the door with a phone number to call. And that way we can help direct you to an electrician, and that way your facilities will be repaired when we come to reconnect power.
Okay, so you say weatherhead, that sounds like a fancy term.
Yes.
What's that look like on your house?
Yeah, it is a pipe that runs up where we connect. It's a pipe with a weatherhead on the top that keeps the rain out of it, where we connect our wires, our service wires, to the house.
Okay, so we can look at that and see if it's compromised.
If it's leaning, if it's bent, if it's damaged, if the meter base where the meter sits is damaged or broken or on the ground, please call us, and there is a flyer that we would leave on the door, and I gave you guys a copy to put up on the screen as well with the phone numbers.
Wes, Mayor, do we have enough money? I know you mentioned FEMA reimbursement. Does the city short term, until we get paid back, have enough cash on hand to get through this? I know y'all signed off on $6 million
6.3
for phase 1 of debris removal. Do we have enough money to pay for more stuff if we need it?
Yeah, Brad, I'm pretty confident we do have enough money in our reserves. As you know, we planned for events like this. And we're working through it. And as a mayor and the commission, we're committed to making sure that all resources needed through the city and through our general fund will be applied to this effort to get our city cleaned up.
Wes Byne, Augusta Utilities, how confident are you in the quality of our water going forward? You mentioned the equipment, you mentioned everybody coming in and triple checking everything, not to mention the boil water advisory. But a year from now, will it be okay to drink? Will there be lingering effects from the storm?
No, the water's always safe to drink here. There's a misconception about the quality of the drinking water in most municipalities. Augusta's source water is extremely clean, extremely good. Our plants are always in compliance. So the drinking water quality is extremely high, safe to drink. Over the next few days, you'll notice a little bit more chlorine in your water as it comes through, and that was a request of the state to ramp the chlorine levels up just as a safety precaution as well. By the time we get through this in another week or so, you'll be able to say everything is completely returned to normal, and you won't have there will be no lingering health effects. There'll be nothing from this that is carried on.
Okay, you said notice chlorine. That means if I take a sip a week from now, I might taste a little.
It's smell usually. Some people have an olfactory that's particularly attuned to the smell.
Okay.
And so some people find it offensive, but it's completely normal. It's something we're doing. We're dosing it about 2.5 times the normal amount, and we'll ramp that back down as soon as we get the all clear.
Kerry, a lot of hearts sunk recently when we got the email from y'all that some of the restoration dates had been pushed back, some by a week or so. Why'd y'all push those dates back, and what can you say to help us not lose hope?
So it's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. So this storm is different. The magnitude and scope and scale of this storm, we're just now beginning to move into areas that were completely impassable to us and begin damage assessment. And the damage that we're seeing is just as bad or worse in the areas that we could get to in the beginning. So what we've done is please download our Georgia Power app, sign up for outage alerts. Follow our outage map online, and we'll keep you posted. What we're doing is we're assigning on heavily damaged circuits, we're pushing the estimated restoration time out only on those circuits a few days further because of the damage that is on those circuits.
Is there a chance that it might be restored sooner?
That is exactly right. And keep in mind, our estimated restoration time, or ERTs, are for 95% restoration. That means we're going to restore 95% of the people on that circuit by the date that we're given. You may get power before that.
Mayor, how are our roads? I know the effort to clear them has been nonstop so that Kerry's crews can get to us. What do you know about our roads?
There's a continuous improvement. I actually drove to your studios today and all lights were operational getting here. So that's a great sign. We're going to keep the curfew in place. We may extend the hours because at night it is still dangerous. We still have some traffic signals that are not operational, and we realize that people need to get around the city to obtain food and gas and just some sense of normalcy, but things are slowly improving. But I can't reiterate enough, as you enter these traffic intersections where there's no power, practice the four-way stop process. Make sure you're being cautious of those who are approaching.
No, gosh, it's a lesson every single day to see how those four-way stops are navigated. I wanted to ask you this, Kerry. Once our lights do come back on, I know there's this urge to turn every light in the house on in celebration. Do you need us to back off and conserve once the power's back?
Georgia Power has energy needed to provide daily life right now. So there's no need, just normal energy conservation practices would be enough, especially post-restoration.
Real quick, are y'all going to bury poles in the future, especially with new construction, so they don't get blown down?
We underground.
Not poles, lines.
Yeah, we underground some lines, but our preferred method of construction is overhead. So for exactly this situation, we can find the problem, we can fix the problem. When it's underground, restoration is actually slowed because it takes us a while to find the problem and then actually repair it.
I've probably got 60 seconds. I'll go down the line. Mayor, what can we do to help you? You all are absolute heroes because you're leading the way. I don't care if people are impatient or they think you're going slowly. Your answers today prove that you're not. And I care about the people. It's just that it's frustrating to hear the level of impatience with y'all. Can we help you?
Continue to be patient. Continue to check on your neighbors. This is something that we haven't witnessed, at least in my lifetime, and it's certainly going to take all of us in cooperation to get it done. So continue just to show patience is what we ask.
Can we help you with water? Can we help you at home to make your job easier, Wes?
I would ask as you turn the power back on, make sure your sprinkler systems are off right now. If you can delay laundry, big tasks like that, definitely showering, washing your dishes, no problem. But if we could delay those water demands for a while, because everybody's trying to do stuff once the water comes back on, completely understand it. Again, a little bit of patience with us. We're working around the clock, teams of dedicated crews to get this thing back operational.
Kerry, how can we help you? And is it okay to go up to the trucks and ask the men and women, for a timetable?
Yeah, well, listen, the outpouring of support for our line workers and our crew and our electric restoration personnel has been overwhelming. It has been massive. And I think every citizen in your viewing area can walk out their front door and see why. They see the evidence of the devastation in this region. So we would ask you to stay away from our electric service personnel, allow them to do what they do best, and that's get the lights on. All of our workers go to work every single day in mind to keep the center at the customer of everything that we do. That is who we are. It is in our DNA, and we will work 24/7, 365 days tirelessly until we get this done.
Mayor Garnett Johnson, Wes Byne, Augusta Utilities Department Director, and Kerry Bridges, Region Executive for Georgia Power. I say a prayer of thanks for you and your teams, and please share that with them. We love you all, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sparing their time in the middle of this mess to bring us up to speed. The Means Report, back in a moment.